ICICI Bank has been a nursery for talent for several years. 7 of India's top 13 women CEO bankers are from this bank. What is it about ICICI Bank that creates this institution of empowering women year after year?
I think the basic philosophy that ICICI Group has followed is really to be a merit-oriented, gender-neutral organization. So, rather than saying that we do many things specially for women, actually we do not. The big special thing that we do is that we remain absolutely gender-neutral. We look at merit, we look at the capabilities of the person, and the next big job, the next big responsibility goes to the person, whoever we feel is capable of doing that job, irrespective of whether that person is a male or a female. And I think creating this equal opportunities organization has just enabled that a lot of women have flourished.
You may not have had to break the glass ceiling, as it were, but do you agree that that glass ceiling exists for women across India Inc. and an evidence of that is the fact that we see very few women on corporate boards?
I would say that a lot of change has happened in the last 25-30 years. I can only recall from the time I started my career, and at that point there were most organizations in India where one would not even apply as a girl, because one would know that women are just not welcome in that organization. From there on, actually a lot of changes happened. Today organizations are keen to take in women. They are keen to create a gender diversity in their workforce. So I think to that extent a lot of change has happened. But since the impact of this change takes a long period of time, you've still not reached a stage where a lot of women have reached the level of the top management. So rather than saying whether there's a glass ceiling or not, I would say that the past behavior of most organizations has not yet led to many women reaching the top level or being there to be chosen from.
Personally for you, the story goes that you took a break of about 6 months, and that change turned out to be a career-changing phenomenon. When you found it difficult to cope the pressures of both work and home, how difficult was it then, and how difficult is it now as CEO?
Well, I think this thing of coping between work and home and managing both, I don't think this goes away at any time. It remains with you all the time, whether you are a management trainee or a CEO, or whether you are a just married girl or a mother of 2 teenagers. So I don't think that changes. But yes, I think you need to keep prioritizing all the time, and you need to keep prioritizing on a daily basis, and manage to kind of handle both equally. The break that I took for 6 months, in a way, yes, it was a big thing. In a way, actually, it was not a big thing, because it only meant that the past many years I had really not taken too much of holiday, and this was a leave that was due to me. And therefore this was no special leave as such. It was all the leave that was there to my credit, and I said this is the best time to use it. So when my second child was born, so I think I used it really most effectively at that time, rather than taking a lot of holidays before that. And that just gave me that breathing space at the point where I had 2 very young children. Of course, at the age of 6 months, no child becomes old, but I think it just gives you the ability to handle things better, if you've got those few extra months.
You took over in May 2009 as the Chief Executive, Chanda, and since then the bank's profits have more than doubled, stock prices soared. If you look back at your journey so far, what do you think has been the most challenging moment for this bank as an institution? Would you say the time around the Lehman crisis was perhaps the most challenging that this institution has faced?
Yes, I would think so. I think the time around the Lehman crisis was the most challenging, because let me put this in perspective. It was very challenging because, first of all, the entire environment globally was very uncertain, very challenging. So the question was that any challenge that hit an organization was a mix of 2 things. It was partly due to what the actual economic challenge was, but also largely due to what the perception was. So, in a way, what we were coping with was a very small problem, very small in financial terms, but very large in perception terms. And you know, so I think in that sense, this was one of the most challenging times that we faced. But in a way, I think every challenge has a lot of lessons in it, a lot of lessons in terms of how do you handle a challenge, how do you shape your future strategy, having learned from the challenge. So I think we have to thank ourselves for the learnings that every challenge gives us.
Has there been any point during your professional life that you have felt insufficient or deficient because you're a woman? Has gender ever been a drawback or a disadvantage?
No, not at all. I have not felt that it was ever a disadvantage. But having said that, I think one fact we have to recognize that just the sheer responsibility of managing both a career and a family is, I think, just larger on a woman. So I don't think we should escape from that fact that you necessarily are doing much more multitasking and in a way getting 48 hours of work out of a 24 hours of a day. But I think that's a fact that remains in a way not just a fact. I think it's our privilege to be able to do that. But I don't think I have ever felt that there was a bias in the environment just because I was a woman.
One final question. You spoke about change. How much of it is being done at the bank from the point of view as an employer and as someone who's able to offer opportunities for younger women to grow?
Actually, as a bank and as an organization, we have been quite an evolved organization in this respect. As I said, even when I joined 25 years ago, I did not feel there was any bias, on the basis of gender. So we have always believed that we actually do not recognize gender. We just go on the basis of merit. And that's the philosophy that we continue to follow and we will continue to follow. So even today, out of a workforce of more than 50,000 people, we have almost 30% of the workforce being women employees.